Welcome to Shop Talk, your monthly dose of inspiration for selling vintage and antiques online. I am one of your co-hosts, Whitney from Connard & Co., and I am here with Nicole from Vintage Haven Shop, my other delightful co-host. How are you doing today, Nicole?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Good. I mean, we act like we haven't been talking all morning about our upcoming trip to England, which will be the subject of another podcast. Just in case you are not caught up to speed, we have transitioned Shop Talk to a pre-recorded format so you can enjoy it on podcast and YouTube and not worry about missing anything on Instagram Live. And this month, we actually have on a guest, and we have Crystal Joyce from Mrs. Shippie. We are going to talk about all things shipping, which I know is a source of delight and absolute stress for a lot of sellers. So we're really hoping that we can give you guys information to make your lives easier, to help you run a thriving business that gives you life instead of taking over your life. Welcome, Crystal.
Thank you so much for having me, Whitney. It's a blast to be here and recently interviewed you. You are a customer of mine, and I've worked with so many different vintage resellers in a wide variety of industries and really just like different focuses, like vintage rug sellers, vintage jewelry, vintage home goods, vintage clothing. There's such a wide span when it comes to vintage. And yes, shipping vintage can be a nightmare because everything is so unique, but at the same time, yeah, like on the receiving end, receiving something that's like shipped quickly and it's gorgeous and it's beautiful, I mean, like that's the best.
Oh, I agree. I feel like shipping has to be in the top three most important factors of giving your customers a really good experience. It's really interesting when I get feedback from people. Sometimes they don't even mention the item. They just say it was shipped so fast, very well packaged.
I know, and it's the worst too as a business owner, knowing that your review just is so dependent upon the shipping experience, and you have basically you just don't have a lot of influence in terms of how shipping is going to go. I like to say that shipping is a human business. It's a people business. A human is picking up your box. People are moving it all along the whole course, and then a person delivers it. Anytime where there are people interfering and interacting with any kind of process, there's going to be errors. It's just what people do. But this is why I feel like having a shipping policy that essentially states this is just getting everything set off on the right foot too for your customers. What to expect, what to do when things go wrong. There's so much in shipping that can and does go wrong because it's just the nature of shipping. It's the nature of any process with people. But there's a lot that all business owners, but especially vintage, can do along the way to make this a smoother process for their customer base when things go wrong. Things are going to go wrong, it happens.
Absolutely. And how you handle it can make the difference between keeping that customer or them saying, see you later. So tell us, how did you get into this business of selling? Because just to also let you guys know, like you are not a seller, a vintage seller. You don't sell products and ship products yourself, but you have kind of turned into a shipping guru. So how did you get into that industry?
So I was an accountant for 15 years. I was in nonprofit accounting and in public accounting for a long time. And then when my first daughter was born, I was like, okay, I'm going to go back to work. I'm going to be one of these moms that is, not focused on parenting, but focused on like myself as a whole and really well balanced. And then she was born and I was like, nope. Nobody can care for this baby but me. And so I ended up starting my own firm. I sold it in 2018. I wanted to do something that was more creative. For some reason, I thought that would be software engineering, and it wasn't. Software engineering is all math. I cried more than I've ever cried my entire life. It was so hard. And then my husband, this entire time, we've been together for 23 years, he's been in logistics and shipping. And so around this time, it was COVID, 2021, 2020 area. And I was telling my husband, you should really do social media for shipping. Like you have such this wide knowledge base. People would benefit so much from you just sharing some of it. My husband was like, no, like, what are you talking? Nobody wants to go on TikTok and see shipping. Like, that's not a thing. And I'm like, yes, people want that. And he kept telling me no. So eventually I was like, fine, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to show you that this is a good idea. And so my husband is kind of referred to as like Mr. Ship. So I decided that I was going to name my business Mrs. Shippie. So that's why my last name is Joyce. His last name is Joyce. I am not really Crystal Shippie. My business is Mrs. Shippie because it's kind of the counterpart to him. It's a big I told you so, but it's worked out well. I absolutely love it. So I've been listening to my husband talk about shipping for 23 years. My background, though, is business in a whole, in totality, basically. So I do know a lot about shipping, and now I've been doing this myself for 4 years, which is wild. And I've worked with people from basically any industry you can imagine, like custom saunas, laser engraved ice cubes that get shipped all around the world, inventors, vintage, food, you name it. I've probably worked with a business owner in that industry.
Okay, so you started by doing social media for your husband's company, but then did you start your own company, or is this to just kind of fold in together where you kind of came in and took over?
No, he was adamant that he was not ever going to do social media ever. And the really funny thing is that I'm an introvert, he is the extrovert. So he was just like, no, that's not like good for you if you want to try it, but it's not going to work. And then it's only Mississippi. I started doing all of my sales on social media, on Instagram. Now I'm kind of everywhere. We do TikTok, Pinterest, YouTube, podcast, everything.
Yeah.
But I really focus on using these platforms as a resource, free resource, as a guide, as basically educating business owners. Business owners are experts in whatever their thing is. It is so unreasonable to then expect them to be experts in shipping and logistics. And shipping and logistics is such a heavily saturated market. There's so much information out there, and there's so much ad money that goes into all of this that as a business owner, as a person trying to research and find the right fit for your business, it's extremely difficult. So what I hope and my goal is for Mississippi, and what I hope it is and being received as by other business owners, is that it's just a free resource. It's easy to sort through. It doesn't feel very salesy, but just that it's there to guide you through this process.
And then past the social media, you are, oh boy, tell me if I get these words right, a certified UPS reseller, where you're able to, because that's obviously how I use your services, of negotiating like deeply discounted rates for business owners as well.
Correct. Yeah. So I have a partnership with UPS. It's a very unique partnership. UPS allows me to open individual accounts for business owners, and then I apply discounted pricing directly to UPS's API. This has a huge benefit for business owners because you're not tied into using any tech when you work with me. And this is very unique, right? Usually if you use somebody like Pirate Ship, and this is what you're doing, you need to make sure that Pirate Ship aligns with whatever else you're using. If you're in Etsy, it needs to work with Etsy. If you're in Shopify, it needs to work with Shopify, Wix. And there are so many different sales platforms that business owners do use and can use. And the same thing for shipping and fulfillment software. Shippo, ShipStation, Pirate Ship, Shipping Easy. I want to say ShipBop. I don't know that ShipBop is a thing, but I'm sure it probably is. It's just so much tech. What I do is I'm able to get individual accounts for people that are already loaded with discounted pricing. And then you can integrate those into whatever tech you're currently using so that you can find a solution that works truly for you and whatever your tech stack is. But in addition to that, as businesses grow and scale, which I personally have been going through, your technology that you're using changes. And so this way, as your business is growing and scaling, your discounts increase with UPS because they're also watching your business grow and scale. And you get to keep your account for the life of your business. It's yours.
That's amazing. And I also want you, because the way that you described this to me when we were on a call, which you kind of already have, but I don't think a lot of people understand like how Pirate Ship or all of these discounted shipping platforms, how they work and why it's cheaper. Sometimes people ask me and I'm like, I don't know. It's just cheaper. Don't go to the post office. Don't buy your labels at the counter. That is the worst place to buy them. If you want to play
the worst
like
place
most
to buy them.
Expensive. So how exactly does this industry work? Like how do they get the discounts?
So I did an in-person event last week, and I kind of described it like this because I get so many business owners that go, oh, well, I go buy shipping at, the local UPS store or FedEx office. And every time I go, oh, no, please don't buy shipping there ever again. All of these different platforms, I want to say the last time I looked, there was like 37, 36 of them, something like that. They're all grouped into one contract with carriers. And FedEx, not as much as UPS, and then the post office is a completely different ballgame. But essentially, they have their own account with a carrier, and their software, their app, their platform allows you to use their account. So it is discounted, and it's discounted because of the volume that they get on their website. So, like Pirate Ship, for example, is doing hundreds of thousands of packages a day, I assume. Actually, I have no idea what their volume is, but I assume that's what it is. And then they have an agreement with UPS that this is the pricing that they have access to and that this is the pricing that they can advertise. These are two very different things. Shopify falls into this exact same category where they have a contract with UPS. They have one account. You ship on Shopify's account, so you own nothing. And as your business grows, Shopify doesn't really care. They're not going to offer you more discounted shipping because they're not incentivized to for any reason. All of these shipping apps, their goal, like, yes, they're giving you discounts. However, their goal is to provide you with a service that is going to be the most profitable for them. That's also the same premise for a UPS store, super expensive shipping. FedEx office, super expensive shipping. And honestly, the post office as well. Any in-person shipping solution that you're using, you're paying a huge markup for the convenience of going. Mm-hmm. What I recommend to people who are small and getting started is use Pirate Ship. It's so incredibly easy to navigate. It's also free, which is great even if you're just going to ship something to grandma for her birthday. Oh, yeah. Use Pirate Ship, print out a label at home. And then you can take your label and your item if you don't have a box yet. Then you go take it to the UPS store. They will help you out and get everything else done without having to pay the additional markup on the actual shipping.
And the benefit of using an account directly with UPS, like what you're saying, is instead of using Pirate Ship's individual account, when we get our own through Mrs. Shippie, then we have direct access to the discounts that increase as our volume increases because we're buying more in bulk. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
That's a huge,
because
huge benefit.
You're a loyal customer.
Yeah.
So UPS, FedEx, just like anybody else, everybody wants return, repeat business, right? And so when you are using an account that is hooking you up, basically, or giving you better shipping rates than anything else that's available to you, every carrier wants that. They want you to come back every single day, print all of your shipping labels with them, and this is essentially what we help to facilitate. But me and my team act essentially as account managers. My whole team is here in the United States. I know I like to shop online also. So I know from my own experience too, I do not, if I have an issue with a package, 'cause like I said, stuff happens, I don't like talking to people that are offshore. My whole team is here in the United States. I want to talk to somebody that's here in the United States that can help me with like some kind of resolution. And what I find was when I speak with people that are offshore, they just don't have a lot of power to even provide a resolution. So my team and I kind of offer a white glove service. We also take care of claims, and our customers get to be completely hands off on that. We also do shipping insurance, a bunch of different services that we offer that essentially are not available anywhere else. And it's just become offering that human touch, that human service, that connection, having like a shipping person in your corner has become such a niche concept. I feel like with any kind of business services, I don't charge subscription fees or membership fees, but people always think like, oh, man, how much is this going to cost me to have this service? Mm-hmm. Nothing.
Mm. And I think that's a huge benefit too for people to understand. A lot of us we're one person shops. Like, it's me, I have an assistant who's an independent contractor, but that doesn't mean that you can't have like a point person, someone who, it's like you can build a team without actually hiring people on, where as you need them, you can have your web designer, you can have a local trucker that ships furniture for you. You can have a shipping person that can help you handle logistics, and being able to hand that off, I think, is really just a sign of business growth and a place where you also can be comfortable not being in complete control of every small detail of your business. Like, you can trust the experts with certain things. Yeah. So, okay, we already talked about, we're going to kind of dive into the biggest mistakes. I'll talk about the mistakes I've made as a beginning seller. You know, Nicole, chime in and tell us. We already said buying labels at the counter in person is a big mistake. Don't do that. Like you
That's
said,
my
just
number one.
number one,
Not do that.
Don't do that. Don't pay full retail. So, what kind of mistakes do you see sellers making the most often?
Ooh, so many. Okay, my number one no is never buy shipping in person. That is hands down the most expensive shipping you can buy. It needs to be some kind of emergency situation, in my opinion. There's so many resources to buy affordable shipping. Do not buy it in person. My number two pet peeve is, again, I've seen some of my customers do this, is do not use boxes that are too big. It becomes really expensive. And usually the pushback or the reasoning that I hear, the excuse is, well, I can't afford to, or I don't want to buy a bunch of different sizes, or I want to buy in bulk so I can get the discount. It's not worth it. The amount that you're going to pay to ship something small in a box that's too big, it completely negates whatever discount you thought you were getting from buying bulk in these boxes that are too big for half of your orders that you're shipping out. Don't do that. It's much more fortuitous if you buy a variety of box sizes and a smaller quantity, if that's what you can afford at the moment, to make sure that you're not using boxes that are too big. It's really common for people to trigger dimensional weight when they're doing shipping, thinking like, oh, it's a small item, but I've only got this one box, and yeah, the box is pretty big, but I'll put some kind of packaging inside so the item is secure and it'll be fine. When you do that, it's very common that you're going to trigger dimensional weight charges, and that's essentially where the carrier will no longer charge you based on how heavy the box is, but they charge you based on the volume of the box. That would be number two. This can be kind of difficult for people to understand, though, but it's math. Usually the baseline for UPS, at least, is 12 by 12 by 12. If you're using a box that's 12 inches in length, 12 inches in depth, and 12 inches in width, that's going to be the absolute limit for their dimensional weight. If you do anything that's a little above that, you're going to get dinged, and you're going to end up having dimensional weight or volume-based pricing.
That's like one of the first things that I had to figure out when I got onto Shopify, because I know a lot of sellers who are on Shopify. It's not built for one-of-a-kind items that come in a bunch of different sizes. I have seen them actually change where in the product listings, you can now select the box that it will ship in, which is interesting. They're doing some updates to make it easier, but once I figured out dimensional weight, it actually made my life so much easier to realize if I know it's going to go in a bigger box, then I can figure out the dimensional weight using the formula and then put that in there and just go with that. Having the multiple box sizes is huge. Nicole, remind me where you get your boxes from, because you have like some nice money saving tips when it comes to buying new boxes.
So I've kind of gone from a few different places. I started out buying them at Staples. If you have a Staples local to you, I believe the discount only applies to in-store purchases, where if you buy 5 or more boxes, the box prices are half off. That's good if you need certain sizes. They only have in stock, I think there's about 6 or 7 different sizes to choose from. You can also buy them online, but I don't think you get that that half off discount when buying online. Their boxes are also good too, because you're able to cut them shorter. So they have like the delineated kind of lines around. So like say I got a cube, a 12 by 12 by 12 box, but I might be able to cut the sides and then it's already pre-creased,
scored,
so that you can make it shorter without having to do extra steps. So those were good too. Like thinking about they might be a little bit more expensive, but the convenience could pay for that. And then being able to just go 10 minutes down the road to grab them. I've also ordered from Uline, and I think with them it kind of, the shipping could be costly depending on how close your nearest Uline store is. Mine is in Pennsylvania. I'm in New Jersey, so the shipping is pretty high. I went in with a friend and we used to order, but the minimum quantity was 25 per size. So if you split it with somebody, then you're also splitting shipping, and then you don't get 25 of each size. If you're looking to purchase maybe 10 standard box sizes, you don't want 250 boxes. Not only is that expensive, but you have to think about the storage for those said boxes. And then Whitney introduced, well, I've heard of Grainger, but I've only heard of them more in like the commercial aspect because I work in architecture, so I know they supply like bathroom accessories and things like that. But Whitney had said, why don't you look into Grainger? You can also buy in bulk from there, and then you can look to see if there's a store located nearby, and then they have the free pickup option. I believe, well, my store, it might differ per location, but mine also has the minimum of 25 quantity per size. So that's good for the standard sizes. Like you could think about the type of items that you typically ship. So I ship a lot of silver plate utensils. So the 10 by 4 by 4 box is great for utensils. Or the, say, 8 by 6 by 6 box is good for small jam jars from England. So like I do, and the 12 by 12 by 12 box is great too for larger items. So if you do have a kind of an idea of the sizes that you're in need of for like repeat items that you have, and like Whitney said, it's hard when you buy one of a kind antiques. It's not like you're selling one product that, like if I'm selling lotions or things like that, that you know you have a standard box size for every product that you sell. It's different in our case, but if you sell clothing, maybe you need a certain size would be great for, maybe this is for like 2 pieces of clothes, this is for like a coat, this is for, you can kind of like figure it out that way. I've also I've had everybody in my family save as much shipping supplies as possible. The Amazon boxes are like, they're not as heavy duty, but they're good for like books if you want to ship books via media mail. Sometimes the little ones, or if you have things that aren't fragile, I would say that would be a good route to go. But I do like having those standard box sizes that are rated for a heavier impact, because I would say 90% of the items I ship are fragile.
Yeah, Grainger has been like a huge help because it's only 10 minutes away from my house, and they generally can have things ready within a day or two. So if you can find a local source, and like she said, Christmas is coming, so that means all my neighbors, everyone saves boxes for me, and when I have time, I flip them inside out so that the packaging outside, at least it looks a little bit nicer. And our church does a special event, it's called Affordable Christmas, and they get gifts shipped in. So I filled up my van twice with like air packs and boxes and everything last Christmas and brought it home. But dealers, we are so cheap. Like vintage dealers, especially, we are tightwads and we hate paying for stuff. But you have to think about time is money, and cutting down boxes takes time. And I try to reuse as much as I can. But what is helpful is to think about your top 5 product categories that you sell the most often, or even sizes. But generally, most of us, 75% of what we sell can fall into 5 categories. For me, it is probably quilts, artwork, stoneware, platters, and probably one other thing. But it's like I can pick out my 5. I have my 5 box sizes, and that's what I buy. And then everything else can generally fit in my recycled boxes. So, but it's definitely keeping it as small as you can. The other thing, just as a note, if a box says that it's 12 by 12 by 12 inches, it's not actually 12 inches. It's really 13 by 12 by 12 inches. FYI, people, measure your boxes, because if it's 12 and a half or more, it gets rounded up, and that is going to trigger dimensional weight. And it actually can add, $2 or $3 or more to your shipping labels. So just thinking about that when you are putting dimensional weights into Shopify, the dimensional weight for a 13 by 12 by 12 inch box is actually 11 pounds. After the episode, if you have questions about that and you're on Shopify, you can always message me. So
That is written on the box is the interior dimension. So that's another thing that, like Whitney had mentioned, you have to make sure that you measure the actual outer dimension. And if you kind of stuff it to the brim, it might pop up a little bit more. So not every single 12 by 12 by 12 box you buy, especially if you buy it from the same shipping company, they're not always going to be like 12.25 by 12.25 by 12.75. They might be different, just the way that the box has been assembled, and if you have a little bit of of a bulge at the top.
Yeah, well, and carriers recently this year changed. They used to be that they would round up if you were like 12 and a half and above, otherwise they would round down. They changed it this year, both FedEx and UPS, that if you're at 12.1, they round up to 13. If you're 12 and a quarter, they now round up to 13. It's interesting to hear your hot take on recycled packaging, because that'd probably be my pet peeve number 3.
okay, give it to us. You know what? This is a safe space where we can agree to disagree,
I'm not
and
gonna
we can
roast
have.
anybody.
And this is where what I love about Shop Talk, I always say I want to bring on people who have lots of different perspectives and opinions about things so that you guys can figure out what works best for your business. Because
A million percent.
I'm kind of stuck. I feel very torn about this issue. Like, I feel very torn. So give me your hot take.
My hot take. So I'm a huge small business supporter. I love buying from small businesses, and I do on a regular basis. It's kind of a problem at this point. I digress. I totally get reusing packaging inside of a box. When I order something from somebody and I receive it in what is clearly an Amazon box that's been recycled, I feel like, I don't know, maybe this is just me. I feel like it's kind of yucky. And I don't know why, but maybe it is just me. I don't love reusing boxes. I think reusing packaging inside, genius. Do that as much as you can. Honeycomb paper, peanuts. The compostable packaging peanuts, I think are genius. They are so eco-friendly and environment safe and just honestly make so much sense. I feel like it's also a missed opportunity that if you as a business are using eco-friendly materials and not advertising, shouting from the rooftops that you're doing special packaging, I think that's a missed opportunity in terms of marketing. I also really love, a couple of my customers do this, and this is kind of like in the same kind of realm. Whatever you're doing in terms of packaging, I think that adding a little card immediately into your box, something easily printed, either printed yourself DIY at home, huge proponent of, or getting something like, you can have cards printed off at FedEx office that are actually super fast and relatively cheap, and you can DIY your own design on Canva, keep the cost down. But essentially saying, hey, was this broken? Let me know right now. This is my email me immediately. And it's going to really waylay those negative reviews where people feel like, well, this is broken. I needed it for my dinner party tonight or tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And instead of having the angry customer, you're immediately right in front of them putting a resolution. Whether it's a QR code, an email address, a form on your website, just a little card that says, hey, was this broken? Let's deal with it right now. You're here. I'm giving you the information, my contact information. Contact me.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of recycled packaging, I don't love recycled boxes.
Okay.
Not my favorite. I feel like there's so many other options for affordable boxes. Amazon, Chef's Kiss, Uline. About 2 weeks a year, Uline will allow you to do free shipping. During that period, it just passed. During that period, heck yeah. Go use Uline. Get whatever makes sense because there is no shipping. Otherwise, their shipping is astronomical. So expensive. Their boxes are also really high quality. If you're a person that's shipping a lot of fragile goods, you kind of do have to invest in your packaging and in your boxes a little bit more. A nice, thick, juicy, like corrugated box is going to offer a lot of protection. But if you're shipping clothing or quilts that don't necessarily need to be protected as much, I think Amazon boxes, especially if you have Prime and can get free shipping, are totally worth it.
Yes.
Okay. We'll have to think about this. It is always the balance between trying to keep operating costs down and also for a lot of sellers that are selling, and this is just something that I think business vintage dealers need to kind of wrestle with. If you're selling items that are only $15, $20 items and you're like, I can't justify spending $1 on a box, then that business model doesn't work. So it's like thinking, how can I increase my average sale value, my average price value to make sure that I can compensate that. You can have handling. I hate the word.
Churches.
It's not padding your shipping, but I'm like, you are paying, a very small, insignificant amount to make sure that your item arrives safely. Most of the time, it doesn't cover all of my shipping and handling. But as I have rebranded and I am moving towards a more high-end market and selling things that are more expensive, I have wondered, how does this come across? And it's hard because it totally depends on the customer. It might be a customer who's like, and I have a little caveat on my website and on Etsy that says, hey, I recycle packaging, just so you know, it's eco-friendly, blah, blah, blah. And so hopefully
Super
people,
smart.
they're not surprised by it if they read it. A lot of times they don't read it, but it's something at least that they can have. And I did get, which I need to order a new one. I haven't gotten a new one with my brand, but I did get a rubber stamp. I hate buying.
Love. Great
Yeah.
idea.
Oh, and I actually have a rubber stamp that I need to use, and it says, "Don't judge a box by its cover. We reuse packaging," or something like that.
I think that's so smart. So I guess this is the caveat to what I was talking about then. If you're, like I said, if you're using any kind of eco-friendly packaging, if it's reused and you're like shouting it from the rooftops, letting people know out front, like I am proudly recycling packaging, I think that's a different experience as a consumer, as a customer. So that's different. I love that you have a rubber stamp for it. I feel like rubber stamps too are so versatile. If you're going to be using tissue paper and you want to have a little bit more of that custom feel, use your stamp to stamp the tissue paper, stamp your boxes. There's a rancher that ships with me that has a like old school cattle brander and they use it to brand their boxes. I'm like, this is a genius. Wow. So smart.
That's the goal. Yes, you can order custom logo rubber stamps on Etsy, and it was cheap. I mean, I'm saying probably less than $40 with your logo, because I hate buying stickers because you use it one and done, and it's just I understand it. I love the stickers, but also I hate paying for stuff that people are going to look at and think, oh, that's cute, and then they throw away. Like, they're going to throw that away. Let's be honest.
It's
so
true.
the rubber stamp is way more eco-friendly because there's nothing that they're just going to toss in the trash. Yeah. So, and we both have really cool cards that are for our package inserts. Yours is really nice, Nicole, that has all of your shop info on it and everything.
Oh, thank you.
Do you have one with you?
I know, I want to see it.
I think it's in another room.
Oh,
I've been like rearranging things to kind of make my one room into just the inventory storage area. That's where I'm in. And then the office, I've kind of tried to keep the shipping station. We'll see how that works because it was just not working all in one room. I tried to include those cards for first time customers. And then I'll add something else for repeat customers. But it just has like my logo on the front and then how to reach me on the back. And just like, thank you for supporting my small business. If you have any questions, let me know. I hope you love these items in your home. And I think I say something to the effect of, if you share photos on social media, like tag me. I'd love to see how you use that piece in your home.
Mm-hmm. So smart.
I think with reusing boxes too, and I'm kind of on the same wavelength as you, Crystal, I feel like it depends on the box if you reuse it, and it depends on the item that you're shipping in that box. If I'm shipping a high quality item, like super expensive, very fragile, like unique, and then I'm reusing like a Chewy box, I think that it
those are really good boxes though.
Disconnect. I know they are good boxes, but I feel like it depends on what it is. If it's like a luxury item, then I feel like you need a luxury experience kind of when opening it.
Totally agree.
That's
I
very
don't
true on
know.
luxury.
But I recycle like paper and things like that. I reuse. I make sure if you guys are reusing items, definitely make sure they don't smell. I've
Yes.
received some packages from people that smell like cigarettes, and I don't know if that's like from the truck or from the business, but just kind of do like a sniff test and then just make sure that the actual like papers or peanuts or whatever you're reusing aren't like stained or damaged. I don't know. Because I've had like paper that were, I mean, it's crumpled up in the box, but it has like marks on it. And you don't know like
Ooh.
what that is, and I feel like that's just a little, it kind of like
Mm.
cheapens the experience a little bit. So
Yes.
it's all about how you want people to perceive your business. I'm not saying you have to go out and spend hundreds of dollars on brand new packaging materials, but just see if it passes like a certain test. Like, would I be okay with opening this package or not?
Or maybe think of a family member who's like a little bit posh and think about them opening it. Sometimes my standards are really low. Let's be honest. Don't
No,
use me.
I think Nicole makes a lot of really good points, though, is you want, it's supposed to be, regardless, people are spending their hard-earned money with you, unboxing the excitement as the recipient. I mean, I love getting packages at my doors. My kids are, they're 12 and my oldest turns 14 tomorrow. But they like it too. It's exciting. Like, ooh, what's in here? And then to have it kind of be the lackluster unboxing experience. I've ordered chocolate before and it was sent in a recycled Amazon box. These were not like cheap bars of chocolate either, and they were meant to be like stocking and gifts and different things. That's where I was like, I don't love this. I know the vendor and I think she's amazing and I love her shop and I still support her, and I told her in person too. So it's not like this is not a knock on anybody. But I was like, I don't love recycled packaging with a luxury item. It cheapens the overall experience. And kind of, Whitney, like what you were saying, and if you can't afford an extra dollar to buy a box, and I know that some people are thinking like, okay, well, these boxes do not cost a dollar, then you kind of maybe need to look around a little bit more and
Yeah.
find the right deal for you so that it works into your system and into your pricing, and then raise maybe the cost of your product by a dollar if that's how you have to do it. People will still buy for a dollar. Free shipping works most of the time into the same kind of concept where maybe you raise your price by $5 and then free shipping makes suddenly much more sense and is much more of a feasible concept for your business.
Okay, this is so good. We're like getting into the nitty gritty of what it actually looks like to put packages together. Do we have any more pet peeves or biggest mistakes? I think the only one that especially with Ventus, is just wrap the heck out of that item. Like, I might go cheap on, I might reuse a box. I might cut corners. I do not cut corners with bubble wrap and padding. Because I think all it takes is, I've had broken items. It's, knock on wood, been a while
Yeah.
since I've had one, and I am so religious about making sure, and if something breaks, immediately take care of it. And ship it out right away. Okay, guys, I'm going to take the gloves off here. If you're running an antique business, you need to ship that item out unless there's extenuating circumstances or the customer doesn't want it that quickly. That should be out of your house within 3 to 5 business days, 1 week max. If you can't do that, if you have a 3-week lead time to ship, hire someone to help you. If you're so busy selling stuff that you don't have time to ship, that's amazing. How amazing is that? Good for you. Hire someone, or stop and pause and get caught up and figure out a system that can help, because customers do not like waiting for their items. They do not like it. And if it arrives broken, you take responsibility, even if it's not your fault, even if the Amazon or the FedEx guy sat on it. Like, I don't care. I don't care, because in the customer's eyes, it's your fault. Because they don't see the driver. They don't see the warehouse where it got smashed by a 50-pound box, on the conveyor belt. Sometimes it's human error, and sometimes it's like these systems and processes, but do what you can to salvage that situation and make them happy with the outcome so that you don't lose them as a customer. That's like a big thing with me that I see. It is a lost like what you're saying, the opportunity to give them an above average experience, that take advantage of that opportunity.
Yeah. Do you want the customer to come back? Do you want them to buy more? You want this customer that you've already had this cost of acquisition. It's already gone, already sunk. They know you exist. They like what you're doing. They're buying from you. Do you want them to come back and buy more? This is part of the entire experience. That's what the shipping and receiving aspect is that unboxing. Essentially, this is a really important aspect in terms of their overall purchase experience because it's happening without you. It's a different experience when you're in a shop and you're chatting somebody up and they're lovely and they give you the cute little bag and you walk out. Like, that's a different experience when they're at home opening up that package by themselves. It still should have a little bit of that quality, like a treasure hunt. As I assume, I'm not a vintage purchaser, I'm not a vintage customer, but that's kind of like that feeling like, ooh, I found this treasure. It's finally here. This is so exciting. You want that experience to come through with an unboxing. And like what Nicole was hitting on too, is if you've made this unboxing experience so great, they're going to put it on their own social media. This is free advertising. It doesn't get any better than that. So you are incentivized to make this a lovely experience for your customers. And it doesn't need to be super expensive or extravagant. One of my favorite ways that I tell people to make custom packaging or to make packaging feel custom is with shipping tape. I feel like doing custom packaging tape, like paper tape, is so easy. It's so accessible, so affordable, and it adds that tiny little bit of like, this is that thing I ordered. I can already tell from outside before I've even opened it. I know what's in here. It's that special thing I ordered. And it adds to that excitement, that overall feeling of like, okay, this is a special experience. I ordered this special thing. It feels special still. And then whether or not it's going to be in one piece in the box, different story. The way that you package your items is so ridiculously important. If you have a damaged item, you can always file a claim with the carrier directly. Whitney, as you know, we handle these for all of our customers. However, in the real world, for everybody that isn't using me, good luck. You need to take as many photos, document. And then in addition to that, a carrier will look at your photos and they can and do regularly go, nope, that broke because of you. You didn't package it good enough. We are not approving this claim. Like, it's broken because of you, not us. It doesn't matter what happened to it. You should have packaged it better. So when you're talking about like bubble wrap, also understanding that bubble wrap, if you are selling vintage clay pots, which I know is a thing, if this is what you're selling, also understand that bubble wrap and clay don't necessarily go well together in humidity and heat. In some instances, you need to test these things out. Honeycomb wrapping paper, way better for clay products because you're not going to have any moisture trapped in with like plastic bubble wrap, which if it's humid, if you're in Georgia shipping to Florida, don't recommend bubble wrap because it's going to get moisture, and at least for clay items, it can ruin. So there's a lot to take into consideration, but absolutely, if you are packaging an item, it's your responsibility primarily before anything else is involved to make sure that it's sufficiently wrapped so that it's not going to get damaged. You should have confidence that if you push it off of your kitchen counter and it falls on the ground and it's cool, you're essentially mirroring what it would happen if it fell off of the post office truck or if it falls off a conveyor belt, right? You want to have that assurance like, okay, somebody can drop this box, totally reasonable that somebody drops your box, and it's going to survive. If your box can't handle being accidentally dropped, you have not packaged it well enough.
Right. You need to make sure that the materials inside are like impact resistant. So if you overpad your items and it gets squished, you can also, it's prone to breaking the item that's inside. That's why I really like the peanuts. I get the biodegradable ones. And when you push on the box, you hear it. You hear that little like smush. I don't know how to say it, but like it happens. So you know that if you like push on it, I do the shake test to make sure that you don't hear any movement inside. You kind of do like the smush test. I think Whitney did a reel on like sitting on a box to make sure that like it's not going to cave in. Because
the really big one, the big ones.
Yeah. But you have to make sure that, like, you can't push into it, because then if there is some sort of an impact, if a very heavy box falls on top of yours and you have a super fragile item in there, you want to make sure that it's not going to move at
Yes,
all.
1,000,000%.
Yeah, double box. I hate shipping glassware with a passion, and I try to avoid it as much as possible. Like stemware, like drinking goblets and stuff. I do
Super
not
fragile.
I don't ship that. I hate shipping artwork with glass. But I did read somewhere that, like with the clay, the bubble wrap can actually melt onto the glass and leave an imprint. So a lot of people will wrap those items with tissue paper 1st, and then double boxing. If I'm ever in doubt, I will double box it, put it inside a box, and have another layer of bubble wrap or whatnot. I even wrap in cardboard, especially artwork that doesn't, it's not fragile like glass, but I don't want anything impacting the canvas. I will, pretty much my standard process now is everything gets wrapped in brown craft paper after the bubble wrap or whatnot. And then I will just wrap that in cardboard and add some stability to it, because yeah, I have to tell a story too, because, and this is such like a sweet customer, and this was one of those, like, it just happened, and a box arrived and something was broken, and I told her, and this is on my packing slip, and I'm like, okay, make sure you keep it. We have to take pictures and send it off to pirate ship, blah, blah, blah. She's like, okay, I'll do that. I get a message later in the day. She's like, you're not going to believe what happened. I went in the shower, and my husband saw a box with broken china in it, and he went outside, and he put it in the garbage can, and then the garbage truck came around
Oh, no.
and dumped it out.
This is this is common.
This is so common. He thought he was being so helpful, because, of course, UPS came back, was like, can you send, they had some photos, but not like photos of the outside of the box or whatever. And her husband, he was being so helpful. Like, this is just broken junk now. I'm going to get it out for you and help you clean. And we were both just laughing because, I mean, I refunded her. And actually, I think they approved the refund. Pirate Ship said that they really had to fight for me. I'm like, thanks. But I mean, I was like, what am I going to do? It's at the tip. Like, now I can't get it back. So, but I always tell people, like, you have to keep everything, the box, the packaging, everything. If there's damage, and send me photos, and do not throw it away until I tell you it's okay. So
1,000,000%. And take photos of, it's always recommended to take photos of the damage with the label in view. So if you can take a picture, that's what they're approving, right? Otherwise, you're just taking pictures of any old random damaged box. If you can take pictures and have the label in view the entire time, even better. It just heightens the possibility of your claim being approved. In addition to, also making sure that you're sufficiently packaging your items. And I agree that if you overstuff a box, what you're really doing is increasing the likelihood that your dimensions are going to be redimmed, is what we call it. And they're going to say, actually, this box is not 11 by 11 by 11. It looks to us, it was scanned in our conveyor belt as 12 by 12 by 12, or whatever. It's going to increase the cost. So yeah, don't overstuff packages, don't overstuff boxes. I totally agree with Nicole that, like, using packaging peanuts, they have enough air in between them that there's enough squish so that when there's movement, if there's a little bit of compression, if there's a shock, there's enough space in there that your item can move without having any kind of direct impact with the walls of the box.
the other thing too is to stuff cavities. I try very, very hard to not have anything empty. That's one thing I see a lot, is they will have a jar or crock or something, and they will wrap the outside, but there's nothing on the inside. And as soon as that impacts, there's nothing to support that, wall or whatever, and it just collapses on itself. I mean, that's something I see very, very commonly, and it's so easy to avoid. Handles, anything that has like a space, just stuff it before you wrap it up. Yeah.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
I have to say, it's funny, Whitney, I got an email, I think, from you, like, right after you started shipping with me. And it was so cute because it said, I hate double boxing, but you saved me so much money on shipping, I just went with it anyway. And I was like, win! Yes, let's double box everything.
I know. Because the me who puts the dimensions into the product listing is not the same me that ships the item. They're two different people. One is a complete optimist, and the other has like the most dark view of the world ever, because I assume that like a UPS truck is going to run over it and it's just going to be completely demolished, and I have to do everything that I can. I'm getting better at that. But I routinely, most often, I'm buying labels from you because I'm using a larger box than I anticipated. And it's like, okay, that's fine though. It's the same price. Oh, okay. We've talked a little bit about saving money on shipping. I mean, I think we've covered really the main things is not using a box that's too big, is using the smallest box possible, saving money on items. But I do want to talk about eco-friendly packaging without breaking the bank. Give us the down low on this honeycomb paper. I've been looking into that. I just launched a candle line, which I have to think about. I have to think.
Congratulations.
Thank you. In antique stoneware
exciting.
jars. I have to think about candles melting. And I know this is an issue for sellers also, because you can sell vintage tapers and vintage, like new old stock candles and things. And I've been looking at packaging, like honeycomb packaging and stuff. So how do we do this without it feeling exorbitantly expensive, especially for shops that don't sell the volume where you can get a large amount of savings based on like bulk purchases?
It's funny because, like I said, I'm a huge proponent of small businesses. Amazon is a partner of mine, so I don't want to say like I'm anti-Amazon and like I'm a Target hoe. Like, I'm just going to say I am. Like, I love to go walk through with my little Starbucks and, touch all the soft blankets and pillows. I just am. And imagine what they would look like inside my home. So as much it's real. So as much as I want to say, like, let's support small businesses and stay away from Amazon, Amazon for shipping supplies is absolutely a gold mine. One of the other places to really explore, if you are, everybody's in a different place on their journey in their business. Some people really need cheap as they can get. Go look at AliExpress. I know that tariffs are a different thing that's going on right now as well. However, they do have a huge collection of items that already are in the United States. So you don't have to worry about tariff fears in terms of buying things from overseas. Shipping in and of itself is an expensive venture. It just is. Packaging is that same way. I know from I've spoken with thousands of business owners at this point. There's a lot of imposter syndrome that happens for small business owners. I mean, I still experience it. I don't know about you two ladies, but this is a real thing that happens in business. And I find that when I talk to people one-on-one and in person, packaging happens to be one of these things that makes people feel like, okay, I'm a legit business now. And it really helps to ease that. In areas where you can do something that feels custom and special for you and you can do so affordably, I mean, 100%. I think it's worthwhile. I know as small business owners, we have to combat people thinking like, oh, is that hobby, that little thing that you're doing on Instagram or social media? Like, oh, are you still doing that? Yes, I am. It's a business. Like, thank you so much.
Literally happened to me last week with a family member.
It happens.
She's like, do you actually make money at this?
Yes, quite a bit. Thanks for asking. You want to see my financials? Let's talk taxes. But this is what the experience is like. Like, are you still doing your hobby? It's not a hobby, but thanks. So people can make packaging. I have these are little boxes that I make as like demos. Again, I don't ship. So I have these. I end up shipping and doing shipping demos, and I'm basically like shipping stuff to my best friend all the time. So I buy these boxes, I design them. They're really affordable. I think small business owners just don't realize how many options are available to them. The other flip side of that is that there are so many options. How do you know which one to choose? Which one's actually affordable? Which one's actually made in the United States? Which one is not going to have tariffs associated with it? There's a lot that goes into it. I have a ton of resources that I share on my socials that are specifically items that I personally have purchased. I've demoed, shipped them to my bestie or to my aunt or to other family members. There was one time I did a reel. It was right after that. You remember that banana that was like duct taped to the wall? And it was sold for like, I don't know, some stupid amount, like millions of dollars. I made a reel with like a poster board, like that my kids would use for like school. And I slammed a banana on it and put some duct tape on it. And then I packaged it. And then I sent it to my best friend. But I was like, look, my packaging worked. Like, this is legit. The stuff I'm telling you, like, these are things that I too am trying. I am actually testing them out. It's like, there's a podcast called The Try Guys, and they try all kinds of different stuff. I am like the Try Guy, but like the shipping only version of it. So there's lots of affordable shipping, and there's lots of beautiful affordable shipping that will instill that feeling of pride, which I feel really comes through too on a customer experience. It doesn't have to be expensive, but I think Amazon is awesome for boxes. I also, it depends on what market and how big your city is and where you are. There are so many small independent box mailing centers too that if you go in and you build a relationship with them, they're going to hook you up. If you're a repeat, they just like all of us, they want repeat customers that are going to come back, buy from them over and over again. That's what I tend to recommend over like a Uline, over a Granger, over Staples. I know that we know that these things exist like right off the top of our heads. 100% for most markets, at least like medium big cities, you have a local mom and pop box store around you. You do. And their prices are just as competitive as Staples, as Uline, and if you can go pick up in person, even better. But if you're a repeat customer too, they're going to give you their discounts. They, just like every other business, they have discounts and special pricing that they give to their regulars.
Okay, you're even shifting my thinking as we're sitting here because you're thinking about the packaging and putting that little bit of money towards getting your brand and your label on the packaging, because the problem with reusing packaging is that someone else's branding and marketing that's happening. And what an amazing opportunity is, instead of thinking about it as like, I don't want to pay extra for something that they're, it's just going inside. It's like, no, you're paying extra because if that person reuses that box, your marketing is going to be on there. If they reuse the tissue paper, anything like that. Oh, what's this cool, like little Who's Conard and Co. Oh yeah, it's this antiques dealer that I love to buy from. I got this from her. I got that, et cetera, et cetera. So making it high quality enough that they want to reuse it, actually it gives you a marketing opportunity. So
A million.
yeah.
I do this when I go on vacation. I love to bring like little trinkets back, especially for like my aunt, my cousins, and my kids like to bring stuff back for their teachers. I save those bags to re-gift, like to give them their gifts because they're cute. So, but yes, this applies to with shipping. If there's really cute tissue paper in there, totally, I am saving that and I'm putting it into like, I have my like bags where I have like all the gift packaging in it. Like there's a Christmas one and then there's like everything else. I store these things in there. Usually because I'm like a last minute Lucy and I'm like, oh my gosh, you have a birthday party today? Do we have a bag? Just throw it in the bag. I've got like a stock. This is how my life works. I'm just like chaos on wheels. But yes, if it's really cute packaging, people will reuse it. And again, it's free marketing. If it's really cute packaging, the more likely they are to take a photo or a video saying like, okay, how cute is this? I need to share this with people on my stories. It's free marketing. So if you're, like I said, you can design packaging tape on Canva and buy it on Sticker Mule, like a 100-inch roll. It's like something like $9. I have a coupon code that's on like my Stan store. It's linked to like all of my socials where you get a $10 coupon on your first purchase. You can buy custom tape for $9 and it will last you quite a long time actually. But it adds just that little special thing. Same thing with doing like the little printed cards, which if you want to print those off on your own home computer, go for it. Do it. It's just that extra touch that nobody's ever going to get from an Amazon, but they get from you because you're a small business. And that's the other thing too. As a small business, supporting small businesses is my jam. And I think that's how most of us feel too. Obviously, Amazons and Targets of the world, there are some things that are just, they are winning at, and that's fine. Amazon for cheap, affordable packaging, I mean, I can't beat them, especially with free shipping. Shipping for shipping supplies is bananas. It is so expensive, but it's because these boxes are heavy. Everything that you're ordering is heavy. Honeycomb paper, multiple rolls of it is heavy. So if you can get free shipping on Amazon for those heavy items, it's worthwhile.
Okay, I do want to ask about the honeycomb paper because
Yeah.
I get nervous. Like, does it actually protect fragile things from getting broken? I don't
It's
trust
like,
it.
no, it does. I'm trying to see if I have a
Have you
roll of
used
it right
it,
next to me.
Nicole?
I haven't
Nicole,
used it, but I've received packages with fragile items protected by the honeycomb paper, like Crate and Barrel. I mean, this was like years ago, but I ordered a bunch of glass bowls and they were nested and they just had the honeycomb around them and really not much else. So I was actually shocked that it protected them as well as it did, but not one was damaged.
Yeah. This is what honeycomb paper does. It's the same thing that packing peanuts do too, is it creates this void space, but it's a cushioned void space. So it's a flat piece of paper when you look at it. It looks like, man, I wish I had one in here.
I
I
know.
just did an in-person event and everything is in like tote bags in my garage. I have another in-person event in 2 weeks. So I'm like, do I unpack it? Do I not
No.
unpack it? No, we're not unpacking it. So it's not, I can't show you. It looks like a flat piece of paper, and then when you stretch it out, it expands and it creates these honeycomb spaces, zillions of them on a sheet. And so in doing so, it creates these little pockets of air. I know people will use it to like wrap items. I don't think that's the best use of it. I actually think that if you are pulling it out, stretching it out, and then kind of twisting it, Amazon does this too with like regular plain packing paper. They also do it with honeycomb paper. And that's what's filling in those void gapped areas and allowing for that, just that little squish, that extra area, that space, so that if compression does occur, it's not going to be such an abrupt collision that there's going to be room for it to slow down and not have that huge impact. And ultimately, that's what's causing damages, especially for fragile items. It's that extra, that space, the air, the void air that's filled in by something that has a little bit of an air pocket in it. But honeycomb packaging paper is so affordable. Same thing. I don't think I've ever seen it cheaper than on Amazon. AliExpress has it too. The thing with buying anything on AliExpress is that you need to make sure that it's already located in the United States. If it's not, whatever you're buying it for, you're going to incur tariff charges, duties, and taxes. This is the world we live in now.
Yeah. So would you still use bubble wrap? Like if I'm shipping this jar here that this is not super fragile, but it could break, it could crack. Like would you still wrap this in bubble wrap and then use the honeycomb to fill? Or would you just, what would you do?
So for that, I loathe plastic bubble wrap. It is so speaking, kind of going back to your eco-friendly thing. Plastic bubble wrap is my nemesis. I absolutely abhor it. It needs to be banned and outlawed. I have to imagine like like they have those giant garbage patches that are floating around in the ocean. I bet like half of those things are plastic bubble wrap and it's just up there floating around because it's got all the air in it. I love paper bubble wrap. So for this specific, do you follow me?
I do, but sometimes you show me things in my no comprende. I don't understand what I'm seeing. You don't actually I see these things, but I'm like, people don't actually use paper bubble wrap, do they?
Oh, yes,
That's not
they
a
do.
real thing.
Crate and Barrel does. So lots of companies use paper bubble wrap. It's way more, first off, economical. It's much more affordable. Plastic bubble wrap is super duper expensive. It boggles my mind. You can get it, the cheapest I've ever seen plastic bubble wrap, obviously if you can recycle, great. But cheapest that I've ever seen plastic bubble wrap is like at U-Haul moving centers because those are the people that are buying it in bulk. That's the cheapest I've seen. Mm-hmm. However, I much, much, much prefer paper bubble wrap. It's just as effective in protecting your stuff. It's also recyclable and it's biodegradable, so it's not going to be floating in those garbage patches in the ocean for perpetuity. Those things just don't break down. I would wrap that in paper bubble wrap, and then depending upon how small your box is, this is the other piece, right? So you want to have basically like an inch around of clearance and then fill that void space with either packaging paper, which is just regular flat paper that's like butcher paper, just twist it up a little bit so that it has that give. You don't want your item to ever actually be touching the exterior of the interior of the box. You want there to be something in between it, giving it that nice cushion. So honeycomb paper fits the bill, and then regular packing paper, the flat stuff. Again, Amazon uses this. Everybody uses the regular flat packing paper just to give it that nice cushion and that clearance so that in the event of, if it's dropped, if it falls off a truck or a conveyor belt, that it has some kind of give during the actual impact.
Okay. I will say I get American Bubble Boy is where I get my bubble wrap from, and I get it within usually 2 days. They have free shipping, and I think I pay, is it $45 for 4 rolls of like the regular size bubble wrap? That's big rolls, like
They're big.
135 feet. Mm-hmm. So it's usually enough to last. I mean, I only order from them 3 or 4 times a year. It's that's another thing. Don't buy your packing supplies from UPS or U-Haul or anything like that either.
Or Staples.
Or Walmart or
Staples
anything like that.
No,
Walmart
Walmart boxes
people,
really
I think,
bad.
that are moving, that are like, oh, hey, let me grab some boxes, let me get some bubble. They're not using in the quantity that we're needing. I also order from American Bubble Boy, and they do have, which I've never ordered before because I like the 24-inch rolls because I feel like it's a little bit more versatile with different sized items if I'm packing. But they do offer a 12-inch roll of recycled plastic bubble. And I think that's a little bit more economical than new plastic bubble. But you can order them. The shipping is included. There's like a point system that, like, if you, I don't remember how it is, but it's like you get a bubble buck for every maybe dollar that you spend, and then they rack up, and then you can get discounts on your order. But within a day, if I place an order, and you can do like a subscribe and save type thing like Amazon has, they do have a subscription where you can set it up like every 3 months they'll renew your order. You can do it that way, and they have different bubble sizes too. That's what I usually order from, but I'm going to look into this paper bubble. I've never heard of it before.
I just love that it's an alternative that is not, like I said, plastic bubble wrap wherever it goes to die. Because one of the things that I love to say about packaging, which I don't say to a lot of people, is like, your packaging is trash. And it's true. As soon as your customer opens your box, they're throwing it away. So at the same time, as I'm talking about, like, it's so important to have a great unboxing experience, it's free marketing, it is, absolutely, these things are all true. From an accountant standpoint, your packaging is trash. It's one single use. It's going to be thrown away like immediately. So take all of these things with a huge boulder of salt. It depends on where you are in your business journey. It depends where you're scaling. It depends if you are scaling. It depends if you're a luxury product or not. If you're a person that's selling vintage jewelry, obviously all of this information comes from a totally different perspective than if you're a person that's doing like I don't know, like vintage garden tools, right? Like there's so many different angles to look at this and experience this information coming in, that luxury products, luxury prices, luxury unboxing experiences, they really do have their own ecosystem. And vintage in general, because everything you're selling is one of a kind, it's also different too. So however you can make it economically make sense for you in your specific business, but also do so in a way that is going to match your product, match your customers' purchase price and their purchase experience. That's ultimately what the end game is here, right?
That's really good. Yes, match your packaging. Also, unless you're a vintage seller, because if you're shipping to a vintage seller, we save everything, every little scrap. We're like the 80s mom, like, don't rip the Christmas wrapping paper.
Oh, yes.
We have to save it for next. I'm never more offended than when I go to the recycling bin. I'm like, who put this Amazon box in here? I need to talk to you.
That's so funny.
I love that.
I know, and
did this?
when I'm unwrapping an item that I have purchased, I make sure that like the tape comes off nice and easy. I don't like rip the bubble, or I like cut it and then I take the tape off later. Especially when I order from England, I order these in bulk, these big boxes. And first off, I'm like, woohoo, my items are here. And then I'm like, ooh, there's peanuts in here, the biodegradable kind. So not only am I buying stock, I'm also getting free packing materials. All the bubble wrap, I like make sure it's all like if my husband wants to come and help me, he knows. He's like, I have to gingerly unwrap this or I have to
It's
cut
like
the tape.
surgery.
It is. And it takes so long and everybody's like, why does it take you so long to like unwrap or like why like if I'm doing a live unboxing of these boxes, I have to make sure that like half of it is already unwrapped so that I'm not like tearing things apart and wasting the bubble. It's a whole
We
thing.
don't want to save this. We're going to reuse it. It needs to be saved
Oh,
nicely.
I
That's so smart.
my dealer actually everything because it's mostly like stoneware jars and some glass, but they don't use any bubble wrap. It's just wrapped in cardboard strips that are cut to the size. I did get one thing that was broken. I think it was because I had several large jars and the inside wasn't stuffed. So we had a conversation about that. But I'm like shocked. I'll get a 50-pound box and there's peanuts in there with it, but it's just cardboard. Cardboard goes a really long ways towards protecting things. It doesn't look that great. If it's, it doesn't look super great, but so I sometimes occasionally I will like wrap it with paper and I make it look pretty and then just the protections on the inside.
Yeah, there's a million different ways to do packaging that'll be protective. Well, and again, too, it depends on the squiggly lines that you see like on a cardboard box. It's called the corrugation. That really determines like how squishy it is. And you can buy boxes that have like double corrugation where it's like two layers, like a double decker bus of corrugation. And using that as like a wraparound of like whatever the whitest part of whatever you're shipping is, like for like a vase basically, it's a great way to protect it. You're knowing that, it's going to have that first defense, like right off the bat, and it's on there directly on it, probably not moving, not wiggling around as your package is, shuffled during the whole experience of being shipped. It's a great way to do it.
All right, so before we wrap up, we have one more question that we actually get quite a bit from sellers trying to figure out shipping costs and what they charge customers. Talk to us about free shipping. I'm a skeptic, okay? I have tried this a little bit. I tried it when I first started my business. I think I offered free shipping on items. There was a cutoff. I can't remember if it was $35 or $100. This was before my website. I was on Etsy. Etsy supposedly had an incentive, and they said, hey, sellers, if you offer free shipping, you get a boost. I don't necessarily think that that's true, but it didn't work for me because I had so many local customers and then trying to figure out the pricing and all that. But I know that you're a big advocate for it. So talk to us about why it works and how to make it work, especially for vintage sellers.
So, free shipping has been proven through a bunch of different research studies. It is a very powerful psychological tool. Free shipping is basically what Amazon's foundation is, essentially, right? Like Prime shipping, it's free shipping. What happens is the customer will see free shipping and it increases the chances that they're going to have an impulse purchase. Another way that also will encourage customers to be repeat buyers is also offering free shipping. So free shipping can be offered. What you were explaining was a threshold methodology. So that's essentially where you go to a website and it says, if you spend $150, you get free shipping, or it's where you're at checkout and it says, add $27 more and you get free shipping. This will incentivize people to go back into your website and say, all right, what is there something that's $27 that I want that I can add? So not only are you increasing your AOV, your average order value, AOV, your average order value, and your customers buying more from you to hit that threshold because free shipping is such a powerful incentive. You can also encourage people to be repeat loyal customers by offering free shipping through a membership methodology. So both of these work really well for vintage sellers depending on what your vintage item is. Generally, if it's a luxury item, you should have shipping built in. Lululemon uses this. Lululemon is free shipping on every order, every single one. This increases the impulse likelihood. So you're going to psychologically increase people actually checking out. You're going to reduce the occurrence of abandoned carts on your shop. But in addition to that, again, this is a luxury expectation. If you're selling a luxury item, it's already expensive. You know it's expensive. Your customer knows it's expensive. they're expecting free shipping. Having to pay that shipping cost is the number one reason that people abandon their carts. So if you have a Shopify store, there's a ton of different data points that they provide you with. Abandoned cart percentages is one of them. If you're finding that you have an abandoned cart, you're getting the traffic, you're getting people to browse your shop, and they go so far as to add things to their cart and then they don't check out, try a free shipping method. If you're wondering how to actually implement any one of these specific things, I offer a free shipping course that goes through the details of each one. Free shipping is math. It just is. And it's different per business because of what you're offering and how you're offering it. And again, vintage items are such a wide range of industries in and of themselves. Like luxury, an example of luxury vintage would be like vintage jewelry. If you're doing high-end vintage jewelry, shipping should be included, as is like shipping insurance should also be included. Truly, anything that's above a $300 value that you're shipping, you should be buying shipping insurance. It protects you. It's also going to protect the buyer. And again, they're much more likely to come back and be a return purchaser. And that's what everybody wants. It costs a lot of money to attract people and get them into your shop to buy in the first place. And if free shipping is going to encourage them to check out the first time, it's also going to more than likely bring them back a second, third, fourth, fifth time. We want our customers to come back and purchase from us. Free shipping is valued so high, so greatly from a consumer customer level that you need to take into consideration how you can offer this to them because it's a value for the customer. So this is where we as business owners really value recycled packaging because it's affordable, saves money. Customers highly, highly value free shipping. And if it's an additional $8 that you can figure out how to work into your pricing, or if you can raise your pricing by $8 and your customers are still willing to buy, this is good feedback for you. If your threshold needs to be not at $75 but $150, this is good feedback for you. So there's a lot of different ways you can implement free shipping. A membership would be another one, especially for people that are selling things that are like consumables. If you're doing like vintage papers or vintage wallpaper and people are going to come back and actually buy more, a membership might be a better way to go about this. Maybe if you're doing something that's like holiday themed as well, you want people to come back and be repeat buyers on a quarterly or monthly basis, have a membership. And that way, if it's a paid membership, you can offer free shipping, and that membership is essentially covering the shipping up front, whether your customer comes back and buys every quarter, but you're getting that guaranteed revenue in to cover it.
Etsy has actually started doing this with Etsy Insiders, I think is what it's called. And I see these orders come through where Etsy pays me the shipping, but the customer does not pay the shipping. And so I do see it. So I think I have to figure out in my head what actually works. One time that burned me was, I think it was, I had the $100, and this was actually on my website, so I did have it on my website. Someone ordered this large painting, and then they threw a couple of small things into their, this was before I had the UPS labels though, but they, the paintings are so hard because they are long and skinny that might have been 24 by 20 inches by 5, right? You have a limit of how tall you can go on the depth
Before
of
you
these
get additional handling charges. Yeah.
Exactly. So they threw a couple things in their cart, and it was actually cheaper for me to ship the 2 other items separately from the painting. And then by that point, it's like, well, I'm losing money on this, not a ton. I don't think I lost money, but I had to pay out so much for the shipping that basically the 2 other items were free for the customer.
So in instances like that, I think having an asterisk, and so in Shopify, I think you're Shopify. I know for sure in Shopify, you can exclude items from your free shipping policy. What's really important, so for something like a large vintage painting, no, this is excluded from free shipping. FYI, please note, please see my side note here in my shipping policy on my shipping policy page. And then also at checkout, please note, I see that you've added something in here that is excluded from my free shipping policy. And so giving people that information, it might prevent them from purchasing one of these larger items that is going to have a higher ticket price. However, in terms of like the situation you're talking about, where it's a really expensive to ship item that free shipping is just not possible. And that's true. If you have lamps that you're shipping, free shipping on a lamp that's large is just not feasible, and it should be excluded from your free shipping policy. So, like Pottery Barn, Macy's, there's lots of big companies that offer free shipping. They exclude plenty of items from their free shipping policy. This is really common.
Okay. Or you just increase the price by $30 or whatever you think that it could be, and then you include it in the price and you say this already has free shipping. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
It depends. Yeah. If it's a luxury item, absolutely. If most of the things in your shop are not luxury items, and this is something that you do want to sell, you can absolutely exclude that one thing from shipping. And there's different shipping profiles that you can do in Shopify. I know like BigCommerce, WooCommerce will allow you to do these things too, where you can set these expectations on certain products so that different environments are occurring upon checkout.
Okay. All right. We have a lot to think about and figure out. So I'm not completely converted, but I'm curious.
I think my
Very
biggest,
powerful
like,
tool. If you're not taking advantage of it, truly, you're missing out on those. It's the abandoned carts. And it's different for everybody else too. It's such a shipping in general and the checkout experience in general is a one-to-one experience basically. That if customers are putting things in their cart, they're visiting your shop, like this is the most, like the biggest part of this battle of getting sales. And then for them to put things into a cart and then just leave, such a bummer. And if free shipping is the catalyst that pushes them over that edge to hit buy now, check out, it's worth figuring out a way that makes sense that you can profitably offer free shipping to get that sale.
Okay. What about offering, actually first, Nicole, did you have something to say?
I was just going to say that, like, my biggest kind of hang up on doing free shipping is because I'm on a coast. So I'm in New Jersey. If I ship, like, depending on the zone you ship to, I mean, this is anywhere in the US, because I'm not, like, centrally located, if I ship to, say, like, a neighboring state, or if I ship to, like, Hawaii or Texas or California, the price is going to be significantly different.
So Hawaii and Alaska are already accustomed to being excluded from free shipping policies. This is the norm. If you go to Lululemon, if you go to Macy's or Pottery Barn or any of these other places, Hawaii and Alaska right off the bat excluded. Same thing with Puerto Rico. No free shipping for these places. They understand why. This is the norm. I would exclude those places from it. I'm in California, so same thing. So there's 8 zones that are possible when you are shipping. You can calculate off the bat. So for me, being in California, if I'm shipping to Maine or if I'm shipping to Florida, if I'm shipping to Ohio, those are all zone 8. They're all going to be the most expensive shipping. However, shipping to Ohio or New Jersey or Florida, they're all roughly going to be the same amount in terms of shipping, regardless of location. There are some caveats to that, like if you're shipping to a rural location, that will always be more expensive. And again, that depends on your customer. So there are some things that you do kind of have to factor in. Obviously, there's some uncontrollables too, that if you're building free shipping into a product and assuming that a zone 8 location is where everything is going to go, what this does is it gives you essentially a padding, right? It allows you to offer free shipping where it's called, oh shoot, I'm blanking on it. My mom brain's killing me right now. Can't think of the name of it. Sorry. So there's different ways where you can offer, like Lululemon offers free shipping for every single product in their store. If you're offering free shipping on every single product in your store, you need to build in the most expensive shipping that's going to be possible into the product price. So assume that you're shipping to a zone 8 location in a rural area, and that's what you would base that off of in terms of adding it. And then if you end up shipping to somebody that's in the same town or 2 towns over, essentially what you're just getting is additional profit. So your profit margin essentially is what has that wiggle room versus like the expense. With free shipping, what I want to teach people is how to use shipping as a tool for your business rather than looking at it as a cost center. So if you view packaging as marketing materials, if you view shipping as a way to increase your likelihood to get sales or to increase your average order value, you're taking the right approach to it, that these are things that I actually have control over versus, man, shipping is so expensive. I can't do anything about it. You can. You can make shipping work for your business and be a tool for your business to either encourage people to buy more or encourage them to actually check out more frequently or to be return buyers on a quarterly, monthly, weekly basis, however you want to do it. It is a tool that you can use to your advantage.
All right. Well, thank you. I feel like you have given us a masterclass in shipping right now. My wheels are just spinning. I'm so glad that this is the episode that I get to edit because I get to listen to it all over again and take more notes. Okay, Crystal, I feel like we could sit and just talk about all of this for the rest of the day, but we are going to come to a close. If anyone wants to get in contact with you and see about signing up to get your discount labels, which I highly recommend you do, full caveat, I am fully a customer of yours. I use Pirate Ship for my small packages, but anything that's over a cubic foot, I go through Mississippi. I've used them for shipping international packages, all of that. I'm looking to use them for shipping packages to myself from England back. I found out you can't buy those labels through Shippo, but I just go into the UPS website and all the rates are in there.
Yes.
Anyway, and it's like, oh, this is great. This is exactly what I'm seeing, from my dealers that I'm shipping stuff from. It's just an amazing resource, and to have someone in your corner that can explain things for you, help you with the logistics is amazing to have as your business grows. So how can they contact you? Where do we find you on the socials? Give us all the info.
I'm on socials. I'm Mrs. Shippie basically everywhere on socials. RSSHIPPIE. I'm on TikTok. Instagram is my home base. MrsShippie.com, same spelling. YouTube, Instagram, Pinterest. If there's a Reddit, if there's a social media app that you're thinking of in your head, I'm already on it. Come find me, come connect with me. Ask me your shipping, your packaging questions. I probably have a suggestion or a recommendation that is tailored to your business because I feel like I've seen it all. Thank you for having me today. This is always so fun to chat with you, Whitney.
We love it. Yes, thank you. And Nicole and I have a little announcement to make at the end. We want to ask you guys to continue supporting us. This is kind of new as we've transitioned to using Riverside as a platform to record our podcast. It does cost money, not a lot, but we would love to give some of you guys a shop shout out. So we are using a platform called Buy Me a Coffee. It's very easy for everyone who gives $5 to keep supporting the podcast. We are going to do a shop shout out. You don't have to have a shop either. You can just be like, I'm a person who loves vintage, and we will definitely give you a shout out here on the podcast. And we're just so thankful for everyone who has supported us through the way that we transition this. And Nicole, tell everyone, I'm not sure when these episodes will be airing, but I know these are going to come out. We're doing something fun. What is the next podcast going to be about?
The next one will be a recap of Whitney and I trip to England and sourcing, ins and outs, what we've discovered while we're there, how to get our items back home, which thank you, Crystal. This was like the perfect episode to have like before we go away because we're taking notes, but it's also very beneficial for our viewers as well. So yeah, it will be all of our do's and don'ts and just a recap of our trip to England. So we're both very excited for this.
I'm excited. This sounds awesome.
Yes. And whether our husbands survive shopping with us for, 7 days straight. That is kind of up in the air. I'm sure they'll be fine. But, all right. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Have a great weekend, and we will see you here at Shop Talk for the next episode.